putting on my glasses. You start recording?
I'm really
Yeah.
recording.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Whiskey Sour. This is such a special episode for me. Sidebar, this episode is not sponsored by Bulik Vodka, though I'm drinking it in my coffee this morning. And I'm going to keep doing this until somebody decides to sponsor me.
Go
But,
get it.
okay. We have an amazing guest this morning. Well, today, by the time you guys hear this, because it won't be the morning time, kind of. It will be, but it won't be because it'll drop at midnight.
Yeah.
The Mr. Amazing Dominick Pitts. So you got two Doms today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what's up, baby? What's going on? I
How
haven't
you doing?
seen you in years.
Yeah, what was it? Dallas last time I saw
Dallas.
you?
No, we're not gonna talk about Dallas.
I mean, but that was the last time I saw you.
That was
That
the
was the
last
last
time
time.
we ran and we was in Dallas the same weekend, and yeah, nope, nope, nope.
Oh no, that's it.
I learned a lot about myself that weekend, and with your help, and I was able to walk away from something before I got balls deep in it. So thank you.
I mean, you learn, you live and learn. That's life, you know. So
Yeah.
that's what's up.
Yeah. And then that fool, do you know that fool had the nerve to hit me up and was like, "Oh, me and my girlfriend in town, we want to link up." And I'm like, I don't want to meet your new girlfriend. I don't want to see you. So that's enough
That's
for
why
me.
he had different idea. He had different idea. I don't
He
know.
did, and it was shut down real quick. So I don't know where he even got that idea from, but that's neither here or there. I want to talk about us, our friendship, and where we are now. DP,
Yeah.
how did we met? What was it? I know you went to South, Parkway
Went
South.
to South.
I went to
Well,
North.
I went to Northeast middle
I
school.
did not go to Northeast.
Right. So everybody that I went to middle school went you went to high school with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we just I feel like I knew you in high school, but I didn't know you
No,
in high
you. Yeah.
school. It wasn't to after high school that we really, started kicking and hanging out. So,
Kicking it hard. We have so many crazy memories together.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Someone we ain't gonna mention.
oh, we're gonna mention it.
You gonna okay.
We're gonna mention it a little bit if you're comfortable.
Okay. Okay.
Cause a lot of it, when I tell people about the experience, people always talk about, what was it like growing up in St. Louis? And I recently was featured on an episode of Tahir and Patrick Cloud's "Damn Internet, You Scary." And Tahir has painted this picture like St. Louis. Mind you, this nigga is from East St. Louis.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the West Side is the worst side of St. Louis. So I'm still dispelling those rumors because Tahir is lying. Tahir, stop fucking lying. But when I think about a lot of the stuff that we really used to get into and where we would get in trouble, downtown was really the worst part of St. Louis. The north side is bad, but a lot of the stuff will be downtown.
But you know what? Like, I don't know. It's trouble. It anywhere. You can fall anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere. Well, I love my city though. I do. I love my city. Anywhere. Like for real.
Yeah. St. Louis is so unique. Yeah, I think about all the crazy stuff that we would be into. Like I think about all those crazy college parties and somebody, I'm gonna mace the crowd or I'm gonna shoot up the crowd. And it's like ants be scattering like ants and roaches.
College parties was the wildest. Like it was the wildest. It was a lot of fun though.
It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we made it out alive because I was thinking about one of the times, I think it was somehow I ended up in the service hallway of that, was it the Holiday Inn that's by the convention center downtown?
Right.
And somehow a fight broke out, they maced the crowd, and the nearest exit was the service hallway.
And that's what you. Hey,
That's
you
that.
had to know
Listen, I had to get out some kind of way. I wasn't going through that shit. So
that. Hey, you had to listen. At any given moment, anything could have broke out. And I remember, I don't know, was you at the Limelight in like high school? Like, was you going to the Limelight?
Lucretia I was okay. Shout out to my mama. I was always grounded. That's another episode for another day. I was grounded probably my entire high school career.
Mm-hmm.
I was always, whether it be my mouth, my grades, and it wasn't like I was stupid. I was like, I was just a social butterfly, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a supermodel. I ain't gonna need this shit.
So did he? Early.
I did. I just, and it probably really started in middle school. Like middle school, I could push the limit. Like I knew how far I could go without getting suspended or anything. And it was always my mouth, man. I always had some comeback.
Look, now it's gonna pay off because you got your podcast popping, and there you go.
Yeah, we out here doing it. Got my candles, got 2 podcasts, and just building my platform and having a good time.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. That
So,
degree from Webster gonna pay off.
yeah, man. So but they did you a favor because like the Limelight high school parties was crazy, lock-ins was crazy in high school. Like yeah, like they did you a favor by putting you on punishment.
I was, or no, maybe it's that I did me a favor.
You did. There you go.
And I tell people all the time, like St. Louis is a different beast. Our city does need vast like improvements, especially in our communities, like the west side, the north side. But I think that, for us, we knew something that we needed. It wasn't necessarily there, and that's why we left, because trust me, this rent is not cheap.
Yeah.
And it had a market been there for what I wanted to do, I might have stuck it out a little longer, but I was like, so I left. And
I think for me, I don't know if I necessarily knew what I wanted to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think, like you say, like in our communities, like I'm from, I say the earth my turf because I'm from all over St. Louis. Like I was born on the north side, grew up, lived a little bit on the south side, I actually moved to the east side, Belleville, um, Baton. That's probably where I spent the most time in Baton, the north side. But in all those communities, we lacked a lot of things, a lot of resources. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I never knew like what I wanted. It wasn't until I had a situation that you helped me out with, your mother helped me out with. Um, they kind of woke me up a little bit. You know what I mean? And made me realize like, hey, like
it woke you up to the point where you forgot to invite me to your wedding, but that's neither here or there.
I mean, yeah.
I still love you. It's okay. No, weddings are expensive. It's okay. I get it.
Shout out to my speaking about wedding. Shout out to my wife too.
Yeah, shout out to your wife. She's a beautiful soul.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to give her. She is a intellectual property lawyer. While I'm talking about her, you gotta show. I love black love, so I'll be remiss to not speak on this opportunity. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's a lawyer for creatives, entrepreneurs. She got an intellectual property law firm where she talks about trademarks, contracts.
Okay.
All that. So
that's dope.
But
anyway. Your wife is everything my mom wanted me to be.
I mean, listen. Everybody got their own lane. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own lane. You doing what worked for you.
Yeah, I'm like, shout out to my mom. I love you, girl.
Yeah, she dope. She definitely came through for me. Like, definitely gave me some guidance when I didn't have any. You know what I mean? So I definitely appreciate that. I wouldn't.
Do you feel comfortable talking about or just give a brief overview. We don't have to name whoever, but
Um,
that's part of who you are to kind of today. Like even recognizing how people don't really serve like where you think you are in their life and where they think you are in their lives are completely different. And I think that was part of you navigating and seeing who really was with you,
mhm.
and through that to
Yeah,
where we are today.
and like I don't want to get too deep into it just because of like my licenses and all that stuff. You know what I
Yes.
mean? But I will say, um, I got arrested for doing something I shouldn't have no business doing. I'll put it like that, right? And then I had a um, friend, associate in the car with me, and things didn't get handled how they should have been handled,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, and I ended up getting in trouble for it. We'll put it
Yeah.
like that. Keep it that. And but your mother, helped me overcome that situation. She helped me navigate through that situation. And because of that, I am not. I won't say because of that. I would say that was a stepping stone to who I am today.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, it was definitely a wake up call. Um, and yeah, like so it definitely helped me. I don't even see it as a bad thing. I see it as a
Right.
positive interaction that had to happen. You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
me to, um, you know,
I
get here
think,
where I am.
and I remember that night so vividly, and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, it was so much happening, and I'm gonna blame it on the college parties,
It
cause
was popping. And
they,
listen, before that
listen,
night,
they was probably serving us like Everclear and all this shit. We was just like, we hungry. Where can we go? So we blaming that on the
listen, I was twisted. Like I had no business driving.
yeah.
For real. Like yeah, it was a
We
the
was
party itself was
reckless.
huh? Say it
I'm
again.
like, I can't believe we were so like reckless when I
We
think about
was young. It was invincible.
we were. And now I think about stuff. I was telling somebody about a lot of the experiences that I've had like with the law. And
Mhm.
I've been I was not saying that other people were not blessed, but I was now looking at seeing how quickly things happen.
Mhm.
I was like, wow. Like
Is y'all is y'all behind me or in front of me?
yeah, we was be I think we were behind you, but when it happened, like you had made that U-turn and we saw the cop. So we didn't do it.
You turn.
Yeah, it was the U-turn. And so it was probably clearly end of the month, beginning of month, meeting a quota, and that happened. It was just in a blink of an eye. And I think that was like an eye opener, honestly, for all of us, because we just didn't, we was just being, like wild and crazy young
We
kids, like
just
living.
we just young and
Yeah,
dumb, having fun. I wouldn't even say dumb. We was having fun, like what
yeah.
we thought was fun. You know. Yeah. That
It
was
was it was definitely a night, and I definitely went to sleep hungry, and so did you.
a.
Because I remember, I listen when I got pulled over and went to jail. I was like, it's so messed up because these niggas was like, oh, here's a honey bun and like a quarter juice, and I'm like, so y'all just want me to starve? Like, so y'all just gonna pump me with this sugar? And I hate honey buns. I definitely drank the juice. But it was just like, oh my gosh, like at least give a nigga a bologna sandwich.
I didn't want nothing. I wouldn't. I didn't want nothing. Don't give me nothing. I'm good. I'm good. like,
But yeah, I think a lot of the things like prepared us for where we are now because we are more aware, more cognizant
mm,
of the moves that we make. And a lesson that my mom always used to teach me as a kid was um, look at the Z before you step into the A. And so pretty much think about like the reaction to what you're about to like hop into, like what could be the potential consequences. And I think that has saved me a lot of headache, heartache, and like bullshit drama, um, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I'm still young.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, that's actually a good way to put it. I never even thought about that. You know, I'm more as a live and learn.
It's that
And now,
Aquarius in you, baby.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying my best to be forward thinking and to look at the end of things, but I'm a free spirit. You know what I mean? Like I kind of just try to move and be wise about my moves, but
Yeah, I mean, but life is one big lesson,
for
and you want to make the best of it while you're here. We all have that's one thing that's guaranteed is death and taxes, and we all want to enjoy our time. And I will say, I admire all of us. Even Crazy Jason, though Jason told people that I was racist against Black people senior year because a white kid cracked a joke on him and I laughed. But that's neither here nor there. Jason started talking to me for months for that. I'm like, dog, this is not real. Um, but I think I admire all of us because even Jason has, been in situations that were eye-opening and game-changing as well. And we all have persevered and pushed through and are resilient and are better versions of ourselves because of that.
sure.
So shout out to you, Jay Gill. I miss
Yeah,
you too.
yeah, that's my dude. Actually, I told him he was going on here. I was coming
Oh,
on.
we should have pulled him in. We're gonna have to do a reunion episode
That would be dope. That would be
and
fun.
pull him in.
That would be
That'd be
fun.
so much fun.
Yeah, he's doing this thing too. He's doing mortgage loans in St. Louis, trying to help
Okay.
out people in the community. Um, you know, buy purchase land, getting a property, setting up legacies. Shout out to him doing his thing. What I think is Billmore Mortgage in St. Louis. So,
Hey, shout out to him.
yeah,
Shameless plug.
yeah. Hey, man, listen, that's what we got to do. We got to shout out our people, man. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like that's how we get ahead, man. You help each other out. You look out for each other, man. Like that's what I think every other community do better than we do. You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
our community or nothing, but I think we need to help each other out more and look out for each other. You know,
No,
so,
that is absolutely like that is so true because I want the best for all of us. I want us all to win.
it's enough for everybody to
It's
eat.
enough. It's more than enough for all of us to win. And it's just our people just find ourselves like in tough situations sometimes where, like niggas do fuck shit. And it's like, but yo, like we could have had a
Mhm.
conversation, connected, and I could have helped you get this too. You don't have to take it from me.
Yeah,
So
it's mentality. Like I think it's where it's a like I said, I think it's a lack of resources in the black community in itself. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Lack of resources, and don't nobody know when they chance gonna come again. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And some people have a mentality. Let me go ahead and get it while I can.
yeah,
Other people got a mentality like I see an opportunity for all of us. So let's make it happen. So we got to shift to that mentality. You
yep.
know?
So speaking of like resources, you want to tell everybody what you are into, where you are, what you're doing.
Well, I sell drugs. Well, today, I moved to Washington D.C. in 2010, where I started working at a group home for at-risk youth, and I did that for what 9 years.
Hmm.
Uh, I worked at the group home, and so I went back to school. I ended up graduating from Bowie State University, the first HBCU in Maryland. Uh,
Hey,
And so, shout out to Bowie State, where I got a social work degree.
Okay.
And then after that, I went to University of Maryland. I ended up getting my master's in social work. Um, and now today I am a psychotherapist. And so I work
Okay.
at a private practice. And I provide therapy for people. So
That's
that's
amazing. So did you create the hoodie that you have on or
no, this shout out. This is from the trap therapist.
okay.
The trap therapist. They came up with these hoodies, and basically the trap therapist is people from the hood, people from lower communities, um, who basically went out and grinded and became therapists, and now they're giving back to the community. So
That's so
yeah,
dope.
yeah, shout out to the trap therapist.
So how did you get to that point to be like a psychotherapist? Because that's a crazy journey. Like, like, or what made you realize that that was something that you wanted to do? Was it working in the group home, the boys' home, or
What? I always knew that I wanted to do therapy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I just didn't know. Well, the real answer to that is when I was in high school, we had a black school counselor, Mr. Williams,
Mhm.
and I always like, dang, like that would be cool to work in the school to do like, you know, he chilling, like he talked to people for a few hours, he on his own thing, and so that was like, but I didn't know how that was gonna work, and
Right.
then um Antoine Fisher, I don't know why about Denzel Washington role and Antoine Fisher really made me want to do therapy, like, and I don't know, I just loved how I saw him, like, work with him, help him grow, reach his goals. And I'm like, that would be dope. Like, and so I just pursued that. I took my license exam. Actually, I passed my exam, and the opportunity presented itself. But I do believe it did come from working in the group home. You know what I mean? Just getting those interaction with the kids, and just kind of seeing some of the things that they lack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, we would talk about things, we would get deep, and a lot of them would have trauma. A lot of them would be going through just different things, and I'm like, they need somebody that look like us.
Us. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
How important do you think therapy is just for anybody? Because we always associate therapy with just trauma and crazy things that have happened to us and generational things and things that our parents were raised and then they were raising us the same way, but it really doesn't work. We think about uh that's how we always associate therapy, and especially in our community we was like, we don't go to therapy, we can't tell these people our business, we gonna pray about it and go to church.
mhm.
How important is therapy?
I think it's very important. I think everybody should have a therapist.
Hmm.
Um, and therapy don't look a certain way, it don't feel a certain way. Therapy is a space where you can get an objective, not only opinion, but somebody with knowledge. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think everybody should go to therapy. Everybody should have a therapist. I know, like you say, in our community it is looked down on, and frowned upon, but I don't understand the stigma, um, because it's literally, like having a coach. You know what I mean? That's what I like to say. It's like having a coach, um, helping you navigate through situations. It's an objective ear, like, what I mean. Somebody who is not involved in the midst of your situation and gives you a perspective that you may not even have thought of. So yeah.
No, that's amazing. I actually am looking for one just because, I like to get there like clarity on like maybe why I do something a certain way or maybe why I'm just still procrastinating. It's more than me just being an Aquarius and
Mhm, mhm,
things like that. And I just want to be a better, like the best version of myself and vibrate to my highest my highest self.
mhm,
Um and I remember it was one time I went to therapy after one of my cousins had passed away that we were like super, super close with. And,
mhm,
like I had relatives mock me about that shit
mhm.
and make fun of me just because it's like, Black people, we don't do that. And I'm like, Yeah,
You
but
know, like seriously, the thing is, like, I feel like we hold ourselves back a lot because of stigma. Like,
mhm.
and it's almost like, that's white people stuff. Like, what is white people stuff? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Only white people do that. Like, we don't, but why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? Who says who that we shouldn't do these things? You know what I mean?
right.
Um, Therapy, like, just how people, like, even articulating your words can be seen as white. Like, but why? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
We ain't gonna start on that today because that's been my whole life. Black people telling me on act. I'm like, what? I'm so hood.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you
Brother,
mean? What do
it's a
you mean?
time and a place for everything, and sometimes every situation does not. I don't need to cuss everybody out in every situation. It's like, okay, let me take a step back. Let me think.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
again, this might not end if I react a certain way, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't need to don't think that far ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which is something that therapy could also help with the way
Absolutely.
that like just think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um when we talk about like lack of resources in our community growing up, what is something that you would like to, I don't know necessarily if you have an idea or ever thought about maybe
I,
giving back or
I'm trying to buy a block. Like,
okay.
dead serious. Like, that's one of my goals. I want to buy a block in St. Louis. Um, I got ideas. I got friends that's working and I'm trying to, collaborate with, with ideas, but we need grocery stores. As simple as that. Like,
Mhm.
if you just think about in Baby, um, you got what's that, a Save a Lot off the circle.
Mhm.
Um, the spotlight been gone for how long? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
down there, like, it used to be a Dynamite back in the day, and that was a grocery store, but you don't have grocery stores. You need simple things like that. Like, you know what I mean? That creates jobs, Um, schools, like, they shutting down schools in the city. Like,
Yeah.
I think uh I heard Sumner about to close soon.
Yeah, the alumni with Sumner, that's the crazy thing about Sumner. Sumner alumni program is crazy. And that's how, when that was on the chopping block the first time,
Mhm.
they all banded together. And I don't know if it was like a certain amount of like donations or something that was able to keep Sumner open. And that it's on the chopping block, but when the other schools closed, that one didn't because the alumni stepped in.
Mhm.
So I think what happened with St. Well, we know what happened when you watched like the Pruitt Igoe myth. I don't know if you
Mhm.
ever seen that, but they
You put me
were
on that.
you what you say?
You put me on that a while ago.
Yeah, the Pruitt Igoe myth is so crazy. Anybody that's watching or listening, please go check out the Pruitt Igoe myth. I believe it's still stream. It might be on YouTube now,
That's what I
but
have.
it kind of gives this huge insight to what happened in the Black community
Yeah.
in St. Louis. And this not only just happened in St. Louis, this happened throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at one point when the auto industry was like in St. Louis and all this stuff, they prepared for this huge boom in like the population. They thought all these people were going to move there, and they didn't, which is how you have all those schools within like blocks of each other. Because on my block, like in my area, there are like 2 or 3 like elementary schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, but it's not enough kids to
Going there.
house these schools.
Right.
So, which is how you have all of them now closed, or everybody's now forced to certain
Right.
areas. Even the elementary school that I went to Euclid Branch, Washington Montessori, and Euclid Montessori, Big Euclid.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington on Montessori is the only one that's left, but all of those are in like literally like a half a mile, if that, quarter-mile radius. Because the Big Euclid and Washington are across the street from each other.
Right. Right.
So I think a lot of things that happen in our inner cities just were not thought through, or actually it was thought through.
Yeah,
But we know what that is because we talk about the Delmar Divide.
yeah,
And,
it's still there. You know, it's still
yeah,
there. It's still there.
I was explaining to my homegirl, I'm like, yeah, so what happened last summer when the white couple was pointing the gun. I said, yeah, that's my zip code. I'm like, it's there on the other side of, you know,
Yeah.
Delmar
Uh-huh.
for the most part. And I'm like, and it's gated, like it's a private.
It's crazy. It's so crazy how segregated it is. You know, St. Louis is, and you know, I just think about how my experience at Parkway, and I'm actually grateful for my experience at Parkway just because St. Louis is so segregated. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Living in Dayton, I wouldn't have had no interactions with no other types of people. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Black people. It gave me a perspective on how to kind of maneuver through the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but it's St. Louis is super segregated, man. It's not too many of us out that was out there at Parkway. Um, you know, yeah.
I um I have a friend that told me, and we were working in Beverly Hills, and
Mm-hmm.
his boss, like her family moved to St. Louis
Mm-hmm. From
because
Beverly
it because solely based on the fact that how black and white St. Louis is and segregated, and they moved like to South County. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
we trickling out to the South County. We ain't out there yet, but I know a lot of black people that live in South County.
Yeah, yeah.
And just solely based on that, oh, I'm going to go to this racist city because I don't really have to
But
engage.
they tell you what it is. But you know
Yeah.
what? Like, so right now we live in Bowie, Maryland. Um,
Okay.
and so which is in Prince George's County, PG County.
Yeah.
And PG County is one of the richest black counties in America, right?
Okay.
The section that we live in, Bowie, is not. It's still kind of like what they call old Bowie, and so
Okay.
it's usually white over there. So when we first moved into our neighborhood, um, you know, one of the neighbors told me like, yeah, you know, a lot of the old people are moving out, you know, because they say the black people moving in. I'm like, dang, like you for one, you got balls to say that to me. You know what I mean? That's number one. Number two, like this PG County, like this is a black county. You know what I mean? So like,
I know so many people from PG County.
yeah,
So many people.
PG County popping. Like PG County popping. Like I love PG County. I love um how black it is. How
Mhm.
I love black excellence. You know what I mean? And I think that is the essence of PG County. Um, yeah. But no, I ended up telling the dude, I was like, you know, well, I'm glad that, you know, y'all moving out because those types of kids go to our schools, go to schools
Yeah.
with our kids. I told him, I was like, you know what they do to our schools, right? And the hints was like school shootings. Like he was like, oh, like come on, like don't give me stereotypes because everybody can stereotype. You know what I mean?
Right.
So him and I got to understand it after that. But I don't know. Segregation in America is crazy, and St. Louis is still very much segregated. You know. So.
I went home one time and I went to Clayton to first watch because that's my favorite place to go to when I go home.
Clayton, I'm not a fan of Clayton.
Look, I'm sorry, my bougie ass. If I got a spot in St. Louis, I have a condo in Clayton. I know the
I
street that
know. I love Clayton, but that's why I got pulled over. So I got.
because it's like a street where like well Delmar is where that Starbucks is. It's these like townhomes that take you into Clayton right there in U City. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm like, I can't think of the name right now, but that don't matter. But we were visited, and this nice guy, he was white. It was him and his kids, and they were sitting on a bench, and I was standing up, and I think my sister was sitting on the other side. And he got up so I could sit down. So I was like, oh no, it's okay. You have your kids. Like I'm totally okay. Um, and then he's like, no, please sit down. So I sit down. I leave enough space where it's like, okay, between him and his, the kids are sitting, and it's not enough space where somebody could sit in between us. Some old white man came and sat down on me as if I was not there.
What, he said on you?
Nigga sat on me.
What?
And I'm like, and then gonna tell his old ass wife to come and sit there. Nigga, do you?
What?
And so I was already irritated at the bitch that when I was getting coffee while we was waiting, she like pushed me. She didn't even say excuse me. She just like pushed me out the way so she could get coffee. And I'm like,
that's
a,
crazy.
a simple excuse me would have sufficed. Like, but that is the bullshit that happens. And I'm like, you see my black ass.
As soon as you would have said something, they was calling the police.
And so I had an attitude, and my sister like, well, what happened? I said, because clearly that old ass motherfucker can't see. Because he can see my black ass sitting on that bench next to the white kid. Like, it just.
That's wild.
I'm like, you about to ruin my trifecta. Breakfast is about to be ruined. And then and I think the sucky part is that we have been taught and conditioned that we can't respond because we know what comes with that, when it's just a lot of times it is just a simple excuse me. And motherfuckers just feel so I just really want to know who was the first white person that said that they was like elite. Like, where does shit come from? Because I'm sick of the bullshit.
Was it George Washington? I don't know. Christopher Columbus?
Maybe it was Christopher Columbus who thought he discovered America. I just hate it. I hate it. But I would say one of the things that I always wanted to do for St. Louis is similar. Always be able to give back. And I used to talk about this with I don't know if you know Erica Butler, but and having kind of like this program that kind of targets like inner city youth at risk, because I've come when I've come home, I've spoken with kids at the Y, like several times when my homeboy was working there. So which was a really dope experience, and kids actively asking and engaging, how did you get out of St. Louis, or how did you figure out what you wanted to do, and I'm like, I credit my imagination, which probably stemmed from, maybe going to Montessori school, maybe playing with Barbies growing up, and I love Barbie, and seeing this woman, though it was a fictional character, being able to do whatever it is that she wanted to do. And nobody ever, like, bitch had a dream house, a million cars, all the clothes in the world. And I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
And having the support of our community, like community is a really big thing. And I think we also need to get back to that. And
I think we are lacking community, but I think one thing I see in DC that I don't see in St. Louis is, we have, it's basically a community center on every block. You know what I mean? Not every block, but it's like you don't go too far without seeing them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, the crime is still there, but I feel like it is giving kids an opportunity to learn to be a community. You know what I mean? It's a village. You know, and I think that's kind of what we're lacking nowadays. Like, we don't really have a village, because people, for whatever reason, like even in families, like people are growing apart. But as far as resources, I think we need community centers, like, libraries. I think those are things that we don't have. I mean, I guess people are going away from libraries because you got the internet. But I don't know. We have to come together. Like, we need jobs. Like, we have to come together. And I don't have the answer to how, but I want to help come up with some solutions. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think that's really, really dope. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you as well. You popping, like, You popping. Quit playing. You doing your thing too. So
I just try to stay humble, and it's just out of sight, out of mind to me. Once I remember why I moved to LA and, remember my purpose, everything just kind of started to fall in place once I started walking in my purpose. It doesn't matter if 5 people watch my show or 500,000 or 5 million. um this is an outlet for me. It doesn't feel like work at all, and I have a good time like having conversations with everybody. Like I had an episode where it's like literally it's like me and my homeboys that are all fathers. One of them is married, the other two are not, and are experiencing the ins and out of the drama to see their children, and we go in depth and we talk about um why it's important to know who you are dealing with, because we always talk about seeing people at their best, and then we never talk about like the consequences of dealing with somebody and when shit really goes down and hits the fan, and what you could be potentially dealing with. But that's another thing, looking at the Z before you step into the A. Because I have some girlfriends, I would tell them, prior to kids and stuff, I would say, hey man, I know you don't see it how I see it, but I see what your future is about to be, and don't do it. And now they, crying about it. I'm like, nigga, I told you. But I think it's just been a journey in itself, because there's still so much that I want to do, and it's just all taking time and not feeling overwhelmed, and just trying to push forward, because I've experienced loss on so many levels in these past year, like few years. Some of the stuff, but it's just, you just got to keep pushing.
yeah. So how long you been out there?
Ooh, nigga, I've been out here 10 years.
10 years. I've been 10 years. I've been
We
here 10 years.
left, we left about the same time, because I left October of 2010.
I left January 2010.
Sheesh, you've been gone.
January 2010. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. It don't even feel like 10 years.
It don't feel like 10 years. Everybody's like, you're an Angelino now. And I'm like, nah, I still got my Missouri ID. No, I'm not. And then
You know
then I
what?
had to change over. I was like, man, y'all got me.
I can't. My mama live out here now. My brother live out here now. So
Can you tell my parents to leave? Because I just really, I'm like, oh, life would be better if you would just leave. Come to the sunshine. Y'all complaining about it being cold. Forget that.
yeah, man. Like so, I guess I mean I got family back in St. Louis, but my immediate family, my that I grew up with, is out here. So
Dang, that's so dope.
that's crazy. That's
That is
crazy.
so dope. Oh, I'm so jealous. I really am. I did not know your mom. I know at one point you were talking about it, but I didn't know that your mom moved.
Yeah, she moved in 2016. In 2016, she moved out. Yeah.
Can you call my mom and just like,
Hey, look, she got a. But see, then I'm gonna tell you this: when your parents move out here, now they trying to pressure your life, like hurry up and have some kids. Where my grandbabies at? Like,
no,
relax.
she don't do that. So no, she don't do that.
Yeah,
Cause
okay.
she it so my situation is very interesting.
Mhm,
Just a quick overview for our listeners. I've never talked about it. My birth mom died when I was 6 months.
mhm,
And so my aunt raised my big sister and I. And then our dad, our biological father, lived like around the corner from us. So we always had access to our dad. We'd be at our dad's over the weekend. So they raised us, you know. And it was just interesting. I later in life I told my mom I wish that she was a little more gentle with me, because each kid is different, and I think parents sometimes have a hard time navigating that and different personalities. But she gave us like a lot of like tough love and valuable lessons growing up. So in first grade, second grade, I was learning about colorism because my sister was really light. And then from, my mom would always say, don't let these niggas piss on you. Don't let them make an ass out of you. And then it was look at the Z before you step into the A. And, I was married and divorced by the time I was 22, not putting our business out there, but my mom was a huge advocate for us, getting married later in life. We was having kids, have kids later in life. She was like, I wouldn't have it. She's like, you 34, I still wouldn't have a kid for another 2 to 3 years. It's no rush. Enjoy your life, explore. She studied abroad, back in the 80s. She was in London. And so it was just different for us. And as much as she get on my nerves, I love her so much for that. And we are building, and we have cultivated our own relationship, now. But I had to get to the point where I had to articulate those sentiments to, because I didn't want to like resent her. So once we talk through things, I saw a change in our relationship. But she play that shit with them kids. I'm not trying to be no grandma.
Can you have your mama call my mama then? Like we can make this work.
We literally talked about it the day before yesterday. She's like, nah, you doing right. It's no pressure, no rush. Keep doing it.
I like traveling. I like, me and my wife, I like doing things like freedom of coming home and being able to chill, like not having. Yeah. Not saying that that's not coming down the road, but right now, I'm just chilling. Like, I'm good with it. Like,
yeah. And it's different. So the cool thing is like you have your, like your family there. So if you needed something, but even my play brother, he just got booked. Like he's on a show. He's on the reboot of Walker. They moving to Texas. And I'm like obsessed with his kids. And like, I want to watch. I'm like, I can't do that. And if I have a kid, like, y'all not going to be here to help me. So I'm cool. I'm chilling. Because it really, that is so important to have people around you that can support you. Because I know I'm going to need a nanny.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I ain't got nanny money yet. So I know. It's coming.
Let me ask you this. Are you plan on staying there for a while?
Yeah. LA? I love LA so much. If I left, I would probably move to DC or Houston. That's if I left. But honestly, I want to be able to I want to get a place like in Paris. So yeah, I know. It is. This is something I always, thought about, and I just speak it into existence. And I've seen so much manifest.
Create a vision board. Put on a vision board.
I know. I need to make I haven't done my vision board for this year. I actually saw something really cool on Twitter, and the person that made their vision board, they had all these photos, and they just did it via an app, and so it's their screensaver on their phone. So anytime they lock their phone or open it, they can see.
That's a good idea because you constantly see it. But you know what? Like I do a vision board every year. I think it's important though. It keeps you. It definitely put things into perspective of like it helps you see your goals. It helps you stay focused. You know what I mean? Anything. The crazy thing is, I'll say about every year, about 80% of the things I put on my vision board I achieve. You know what I mean? It's not. It's some things are long term goals. And some things have been on my vision board that I thought should have been a quick thing, but it's taking longer. But that's cool because I've still completed so much. You know what I mean? On the vision board, man. Like I love vision boards. I love those things. Put it on there. Put it on the app. Put it on your screensaver.
I am because we are so deserving of everything and worthy.
Sure.
And we have to remember that too. I think sometimes we get so caught up, especially in this past year. And I realized that I was starting to struggle with like anxiety again. And I was like, okay, I don't want this to trickle into depression. So what can I do And then I just got focused, and I give a lot of that to like not just my sister, but like my friends that push me, to hear, uh Johnny, Gary, or everybody else, and Kendra. But I just keep pushing forward
Mhm.
because that's all you can do, you
That's
know.
it. That's it. Like I see things as like even hard times you see it as like an opportunity for greatness. That's how I see it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I try to um I try to reframe how I see things, you know.
Hmm.
Even in bad situations, like I told you, like we talked at the beginning about a situation that happened. I see that as something positive, like to this day, like and just remembering, like you said, you can only do one thing at a time. Goals are meant for you to achieve them, so why not? Like,
Yeah.
it, so we was down, like me and my wife. My wife is from Miami, and so we got a property down in Miami. We go down to Miami often, but in Miami, it's a neighborhood called Golden Beach,
Mm.
and it's like $80 million houses.
That's is that the one that's like the little island?
Well, they got Miami itself is an island. I mean, it not. It's a what is it? Peninsula.
Peninsula. I'm like, that's not correct, but I was you got
It's a bunch of little islands around it. It's a peninsula.
right,
A bunch of
right.
little islands around. But you got Star Island. I don't know. I don't know all the islands. So I ain't gonna act like I do. I don't know all the islands. But my it is a Golden Beach is not an island.
Okay.
However, it's we was just driving down. We was driving through Golden Beach, and I was just looking around these houses. I was just like, if they can do this, why can't I? Like they
Yeah.
got the same 24 hours in a day. Like they got anything why can't I? I mean, some of them do have an advantage. You know what I mean? Some people have started off with a head start,
Right.
but at the end of the day, like these things are possible. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
these things are attainable. And that's just how I see things. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can literally achieve anything that you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? What
Yes.
like why not? Like says who? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
That's so true. And nothing is too big, and if I am a avid strong believer of, if your dreams really don't scare you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
might need to rethink that. And if somebody is telling you can't do that, you need to rethink them. So
I, and you know what? It's crazy that you said it because like when I first moved to DC, I had people telling me like it was a terrible idea. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I had people telling me like I wasn't like I wasn't in school. Like school was the furthest thing to my on my I wasn't doing nothing. Like I literally moved to DC with $300 in my pocket. That's the only money I had.
Wow.
I didn't have a job. I didn't have nothing. Like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
where was LeBron? Where was LeBron?
He died. Not the blood
No,
game.
LeBron was his little car. He had this bucket and it was
It was
red.
a little bucket. I had a little red LeBron. It was a LeBron, and so I called it LeBron or the El Benzo. That was um, yeah, it was a '93 Chrysler LeBron, and yeah, the engine had died like maybe a week or two before I left. Like you
Damn.
know, all the signs were saying it's time to go. You know? But I had people telling me that I shouldn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
Yeah.
I thank God that I had wisdom, I had understanding, and that I was able to make a decision for myself because
Yeah.
when you let other people think for you, things don't turn out the way that they should. So
No, absolutely, absolutely. I can, like I said, I can attest to that. People saying that I was making the wrong decision, or that I needed to come home,
mhm,
when I was, hitting little obstacles. And I always tell people, I'm like, LA year one is always kind of the toughest year. And then
mhm,
something kind of happens at like year 5 or 6. That's game changing, that you have to take a step back and reassess what you're doing,
mhm.
and then it's just up from there. It really is. Cause like once you find your space and you know how to learn how to navigate it,
Once you
you
learn how to
can do
navigate
it.
it, it's on and popping.
It's
Like,
on and popping.
and the thing is, like, I would say year one was my was a tough year for me, but I wouldn't even say all of year one. You know what I mean? For me, like I said, I moved in January. I got my first job at CVS. I was a store clerk at CVS. Um, that May, no, that March, and then I started working at the boys' home that May, and it was only popping in May. Like, and I had my ups and downs, but it was never to a point where I even thought about coming back home. You know what I mean? I just felt like I was covered. Like, I
Yeah.
moved from grace to grace. So.
I shout out to my dad because I literally it was one day, y'all. I had lost my job working at Saks. I had been through a very tumultuous relationship as with Saks, from
Hmm.
being sexually harassed, all this crazy shit was happening, and I like reported it, and they started to like retaliate against me, right? And my homeboy, I was working at like part time at like Sam Edelman in Beverly Hills, and then I was working at this really high end restaurant.
Hmm.
I was in training for the restaurant. My homeboy had got me this job, and he didn't work that day. He was the manager, and this chick, Asian chick, she, I don't know what her beef was. And I was a hostess. Like
Hmm.
I'm literally cute. I just walk you to your seat. I'm ready and like willing, like because I'm like, yo, it's so much money that come through here, and the connections that I'm about to make about to be out of this world.
Absolutely.
This chick had me go stand in the kitchen and watch the plates that was coming out because I needed to learn the plates. I'm the hostess, and y'all change this menu every couple weeks. So why do I need to learn these plates? Because when I'm just sending people down, they're not gonna ask me what it is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I like on the menu. I've never asked a hostess that in my life,
right,
ever.
right. Yeah, ask the waiter.
And it was in the state of California, you have to take a break before your fifth hour. And I don't know if that's like that everywhere, but they get fined if they don't allow you to take a break before your fifth hour.
Mm.
And it was past the fifth hour. Nigga, I'm hungry. And I'm standing in this kitchen watching this food. So I'm about to steal a plate. So I tell her, I was like, yo, it's past hour 5. I'm starving. I'm going on my break. No, you can't. No, sis, I'm going on my break. I hit my homeboy. I quit.
Oh,
He was like,
you ain't come
what
back?
happened? And I was like, fuck that bitch. And then I called my daddy and I was crying. I was like, Daddy, I think I need to come home. And he was like, for what? And I was like, I'm just having a hard time since, everything happened at Saks and I'm not making the money that I'm used to making. Like this struggle life ain't for me and all of that stuff. And he was like, so you gonna come home so you can be miserable and depressed? Nah.
Hmm. Hmm.
You done? Like he pretty much hit me with the you done crying.
Now
All
what?
right, you gonna figure it out and it's gonna be all right, all right? And I'm like, yeah, you right. I'm a thug again. Cause I didn't know. I didn't know what to do.
You had to persevere through something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think moving away builds character. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you had to go through that situation. Like you had
Yeah.
to like look at I keep saying look at you, you popping. Like you
Thank
know
you,
what I
friend.
mean?
Thank you,
Like,
friend. Don't make me cry. I'm a thug from the west side. I sell guns out the back of my truck.
straight up though, like nah, like that's cool, and it's cool. Like Jason Daddy. We talked about my boy Jason earlier. His daddy used to tell me about the beautiful struggle. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I shout out. I want to shout him out too, like because um he has been more than a friend's father to me. He has been like a father figure to me. Um,
Nice.
that's something that a lot of that we need too in the Black community.
Yes. Yes.
People willing to give back and helping the youth. But yeah, so he used to talk about the beautiful struggle. And I remember one time we was talking and Jason would say, "Man, it's a beautiful struggle." So me coming from you know dating, bouncing house to house, growing up.
Right.
There's no way that you could tell me struggle is beautiful. Like,
Beautiful.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, how can struggle be beautiful? Like, that don't even make sense. Like. And so they had a different, his father had a different perspective, because he grew up in a Pruitt-Igoe, so he know what it was like to struggle. And so he tell me like, you go through things, you go through situations in life, and in the midst of it, it sucks, But then like as you get out of it, you come back and you look back like your situation, like you had some jobs that you didn't really care for, or it created a barrier for you. But now you can look back on it and laugh about it and be like, dang, like
Yeah.
that's that's the beautiful struggle. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a struggle in the beginning, but then when you look back, it's beautiful because it created something or somebody in you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate you, and I'm so happy you came on my show. You were like, "What am I gonna talk about? Don't go easy on me." I'm like, "Dog, I'm I'm
Hey man, I
real."
didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't
Why
know.
do everybody? Because that's Aisha Allen, like she gonna treat us like Wendy Williams, and I'm like, I I'm not gonna do that. I'm really just trying to, this is an outlet for people. This is real. We are real people. We are going through life through the middle of a ponderosa.
Yeah,
And, and
absolutely.
people need that. Like, I miss my original idea for this show was to be able to travel to you in DC and go to my friends that are in St. Louis and us have these one-on-one in-person conversations. And I was seeing what my, like what my other creative friends were doing with their platforms. And I was like, oh, well, and then I could just do this too because of Zoom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like that's why I say this with respect to everybody. But the pandemic has been a blessing. And the reason I say respect because it hasn't been a blessing to everybody. And I do
Yeah.
understand. And I want to recognize that. But 2020, 2021, this pandemic has birthed a lot of creativity. You know what I mean? It has birthed opportunities that we didn't, necessarily see coming. It allowed people to expand themselves and stretch and grow in ways that we never even saw or thought about it. You know what I mean? Like your podcast, for example, like you had one idea about it. You know what I mean? But then this happened, so you're like, all right, let me try this other avenue. You know what I mean? And it's still happening. So that's dope. Like like I said, I want to say like the pandemic has been crazy, um, but it has also been beautiful.
Yeah. I think the world needed a moment to reset.
Mhm.
And I hate that things have, especially in our government setup here. I wish that they were more giving
Mhm.
and more of a safety net. But capitalism,
Yeah,
unfortunately, because we see even out here, this was the clearest our skies have been in decades.
yeah,
The canals in Venice were
mhm,
clear,
yeah,
fish were coming through. So when we allow those spaces and breaks, the world is able to heal itself. Well, you just have
yeah.
crazy people, but that, those little white devils running around here, but they ain't got my business though. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time, and we definitely have to do this again. Maybe we do it with Jason
Oh, that'd be
and
dope.
get him on and just have some shenanigans because I got beef with Jay. Like
Yeah.
I
Hey,
owe an apology.
listen, I think it'd be a good space. I think it'd be a good space for y'all to, talk about it. So,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, man, that would be a crazy wild episode, man. But I love you and I thank you for
Mhm.
coming on here and I can't wait to have you back. And if you have anything that you promoting, this is the time to put it out there.
I'm just promoting uh health, wealth, love, and peace and happiness. You know what I mean? And like I said, holler at my wife at Lawyer for Creatives on IG, Burgess Law PLLC.com. Um, that's her thing. Not I'm nothing without her. So I just want to put that out there, man. Yeah. So holler at her, man. She'll get you together.
Okay. And you guys be sure to like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Follow the page on Instagram at Whiskey Soured. I'm going to start posting more, clips and funny things. And I'm going to get that Patreon rolling out soon. So, yeah, and that's it. And I'll see y'all back next week.